Hello everyone, let's take a look at the outfield today and focus on the Vipers outfield play. Starting off in right field, you see Alana Berger-Moody. She's about 7 or 8 steps off the line. And the question is, how far off the line should she be? You see the first basewoman and the second basewoman, and Alana's more towards the line. And then you have Margaret in center, pretty much over the bag at second base. And then going towards left field, you still don't see it. There's Aaliyah Bowers, and she is positioned between shortstop and third base. Let's take a look at these individually to see if they're positioned well and strategically. And when you look at the outfield squared away, the first thing you notice is Berger-Moody's not in the picture. You got to be in the picture in order to cover as much ground as possible. The question is, how much can they play away from that line and use their athleticism to cover ground? Now here's the first play of the game involving the outfield. Runner goes from first to third. Margaret picks the balls up, throws it straight to second base. But let's isolate this play. Let's take a look what happens with Berger-Moody. Usually playing this close to the line is an indication that the fielder is thinking about backing up the base. Coach Klein is counting on his fielders to be athletic enough to get over there and cover the base if needed, but first of all, play the ball. The ball is hit towards the second basewoman, so let's see what Alana does. You can go ahead and start it. You see the first basewoman and second basewoman walking into the pitch, getting into ready position. The ball's then hit towards Amara at second base. The right fielder's first instinct should be to go towards second base, but you see she's going towards first base rather than covering the ball. Then she realizes that the ball was fumbled and moves towards second base, and now she's kind of in no man's land. The first move is always to cover the ball, to back up the fielder on your side of the ball. And that's something that will come with time. The urgency to cover the base is there, but at the same time, we've got to be athletic enough to play more towards the gap, play the ball, and then hustle over to first base as needed. So let's see what happens here. In fast motion, Alana first goes to first base, then goes to second, then kind of stays in no man's land. The lesson from this is play the ball and hustle over to first base to back it up if needed. Now let's look at the center field. So here you have the pitch happening. There's plenty of room to the right and left of the center fielder here. The ball is put into play, and it's hit towards second base. She does get a good jump on the ball, and it's a good thing because you'll notice that the second basewoman boots the ball. If she hadn't been moving with the pitch, there's no way that she's able to come here and back this up. However, now that she's there, freeze it right there. This is the challenge play. This is the play we need an outfielder to make. The runner's only 3 or 4 steps off the base. The fielder has the ball, and now it's simply a foot race against the fielder's arm. And if the fielder is aggressive, if she comes up knowing that the runner is trying to advance, the question is, can she throw the ball ahead of the runner so the ball gets there before the runner does? If that play can be made, it will change the complexion of the game. What does Margaret do? She gets it. Instead of coming up aggressively and throwing it to third base, she comes up and simply tosses it to the person right in front of her, Etta, and says, you make the play. I don't want it. You take it. We've got to be more aggressive. We've got to be more confident. Now, as a result of that, the runner on first base may move up to second behind the throw, but we cannot let runners run with impunity around the bases. Now let's take a look at the left fielder. In this situation with the runner on first base, the ball hit to a second base. Yes, she should take a couple of steps towards second because the play might be coming towards second base. But then she's got to hustle over to cover third for a first to third play. The question is, how does she move? Does she walk? Does she jog? Is she indecisive? Or does she use her athleticism and sprint? That's what we're looking for in an outfielder. Let's roll this tape and see what we see here. Couple of steps towards second, and let's take a look. Excellent. Excellent hustle toward the base. Great commitment. She beats the runner there. This allows the center fielder to throw to third base without worry. There's a backup there. But let's slow this down and see if we can count the steps that are made here. The ball's hit. She takes 1, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps, reads the play, realizes it's not going to be at second base. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 steps, long, confident steps, aggressive, hustling. That's what you need in the outfield. And if we have all three outfielders hustling like that, we'll cover a lot more territory, including those gaps. Now, the thing is, very few people will see those kinds of plays. They're off the ball plays, but outfielders know, and those who are watching the outfield know, that you have to have that kind of hustle and commitment in order for the outfield to work. And you have to be willing to do it without a lot of the fanfare and celebration that comes with having your hands on the ball. Now to review. Corner outfielders have got to protect their turf. They've got to get off those lines and get in the picture so that you can be part of the game. Yes, we know you want to cover those bases on first and third, but you got to play the ball first. Get off the line, protect your area, and hustle to get back to play the bag if need be. But you got to assume there's going to be chaos. You have to assume the infielders will miss the ball. So get in the picture, get off the lines, play the ball first, and then hustle over to cover first or third base if needed. Next, you got to protect the bases. You got to come up throwing. You have to be aggressive and not let those runners just run haphazardly around the bases. By knowing where you're supposed to go with the ball and coming up ready to throw and firing it ahead of the runner, you really can control the tempo of the game. Forces hustle. You got to hustle. You got to get from point A to point B, and even sometimes point C. And you should be getting tired in that outfield. If you're running like that on every batted ball, and for the corner outfielders, even sometimes when the ball's not batted, you're going to come to the dugout tired. Hold each other accountable. Listen to your breathing, the breathing of your teammates to see if they're really putting in the kind of hustle that you expect. And lastly, make sure you're communicating with each other. Make sure that you're talking, letting people know what you're doing and what you expect them to do. Here we have a runner on first and third, and the batter squares the bunt. Let's take a look at the outfield reactions. First of all, what should happen when that batter squares the bunt? What should each of the outfielders be doing? Let's just stop and think for a second. What should they do? Well, right fielder is always covering first on a bunt. Third basewoman is covering third. And the center fielder is assuming that there will be a circus and the ball will be overthrown and they'll have to protect against the overthrow at second base. Let's see what happens. Now it seems like not much happened there. That's usually how the outfield is. Let's now go back at that play and take a look to see what each of them. Notice the right fielder is pretty close to that line, and so there aren't many steps that she has to take. You can count them for yourself. But if it doesn't take many steps to get there, then challenge yourself and put yourself more towards the gap and commit to the athletic play of hustling over there. We have 1, 2, 3, looks about 4 steps. We can do more than that. So we want to push over towards the center fielder more. But she was there. She did get there. The correct play was to back up first base on a bunt. Now let's move over to center field and let's see what happens with the center fielder when the batter squares the bunt. I didn't see any movement there. Let's slow it down. Do my eyes deceive me? Let's take a look. She's in ready position. That's good. The batter squared the bunt now, and so all fielders should be reacting to the play. Oh, that's a give up. You cannot have that in the outfield. You just can't have that. Coach Klein says he wants all 9 fielders fielding. He said, well, there's no play. Yeah, well, but you don't know that until the play's over. So we need a better effort there in center field. Now let's move to left field. As the batter squares the bunt, you'll notice there's already a runner on third base. So they're trying to squeeze that batter home. And so there very well could be a play at third base if that catcher tries to come over there and make the play. Bowers hustles over. Let's slow that down. Take a look. How many steps does she take? Is she there? Is she decisive? Let's take a look. Bowers is shading more towards center field, which is good. It means that she has to run to third base, and it also means that between her and the center fielder, they'll be able to cover those gaps much better. She hustles over. Okay, so she's consistent with the hustle. That's good. And if there is a throw to third base, she'll be there. All of this is going on in all 3 outfield positions, but what people see in the stands is this. They see nothing. They just see a simple throwback. But we know that in the outfield there's a lot going on that people just don't see. And now with the next pitch, the batter swings and misses. You see Amara covering second base. the outfield, you just don't see what's going on. Let's take a look at left field at that same play. Swing and a miss, and there's a left fielder coming over just in case there's a throw to third base. That's the life of an outfielder. You've got to be willing to do the things that nobody sees on a consistent basis to make things work. So the next play, there's a lot here. Let's take a moment here and look to see what's going on. Epstein pitches the ball. The ball's well struck. It goes to center field. Weaver takes a few steps in. She gets a beat on it. Routine fly ball. She has her glove thumbs up, fingers up, makes the catch, and then she goes to make the throw. And this is where being decisive and aggressive comes into play. With runners on second and third bases, Weaver has a chance to make a play at home plate to prevent that run from scoring, or she could go to third base and prevent the runner from moving up. You see the runner on second base looking right at Weaver to see what she's going to do. Weaver's got to come up strong and make a throw that's strong and on line. What would you do here? What would you do? Would you go to third base or would you go home with the ball? Weaver decides to go home. Let's see the quality of the throw and the decisiveness with which she makes it. Weaver comes up and throws. Her arm angle is to the side, and she throws up. The ball actually goes up in trajectory, and she almost falls over as she comes back down. Take a look at this. She throws sidearm, steps to the right. To her left, throws it up in the air, hoping that it's on line, as opposed to throwing over the top, making a good strong throw. Predictably, the ball floats like a rainbow. It's off line. The runner scores. Not only does the catcher have no chance to make this play, but now the runner from second base just takes off. When they see that, they just take off, and we've just got to have a better throw than that. We just have to have a better throw than that, and that's a matter of the center fielder setting her feet underneath the ball, catching it coming forward, throwing it over the top, stepping towards the target, and making a good, strong throw through the cutoff on a line. Now, there was no cutoff, but nevertheless, you've got to throw it where it should be, and even if there's no cutoff there, it'll go directly to the intended base. What we also see here in the background is during that play, Bowers is covering third base as the runner from second base moves to third. Now, those are the type of things that you can't see, that most people don't pay attention to, but that is the role of an outfielder, to make sure the circus does not break out because they're backing up plays in anticipation of a ball coming in that direction. Let's take the next pitch from Epstein. There's a runner on third base. Cecilia does a quick little pump fake and throws it back to the pitcher, and it looks like there's nothing. But remember, in the outfield, things happen when they look like they're not happening. So let's slow that down and take a look at what the outfield is doing. The batter does not swing. Cecilia makes a quick little pump fake, but you see in the background in left field, Aaliyah is hustling over to back up third base. That is what the outfielders have to do consistently, even when there's no play, which means no one will probably be looking, but we have to have outfielders who can consistently hustle over there to back up those throws. The challenge is, when the throws don't happen, will they still maintain their level of effort? You'll see the next pitch. Let's see what happens again. She swings and misses. Cecilia has a quick little pump fake. The left fielder hustles over. Nothing happens, but she expends more energy. Given this, we'd hope that the catcher feels the green light to be aggressive, or that Coach Klein can call one of his plays down to third base. But for any of that to happen, they've got to have confidence that the outfielders will be in the right position. To maintain this the entire game takes a tremendous amount of conditioning. There's a ball down the third base line. It's a fair ball. The left fielder's there to pick it up. The third baseman seems to be assuming that the left fielder will be there. Again, you have to assume that the infielder won't make the play or is unable to or whatever. You've got to be there. Let's take a look at this next play. Okay, now from an outfield perspective, let's see what happened there. Let's watch the right fielder. She comes over, gets in position, and backs up to throw. Excellent job. Excellent job. Let's take a look at that again. This time, let's slow it down a little bit. You'll see Burger Moody take 15 steps to her left as she goes to back up this ball. She's playing close enough to that line where she can get there pretty readily. It's an excellent play that she makes. She gets in an excellent position to field anything that gets past Dell. However, she's such a tremendous athlete. If she was to push closer to center field, she could close the gap more. It would cost her more energy to burn to back up first base, but she's a good enough athlete to do it. Now let's take a look at center field. Weaver steps over with the ball. Let's take a look at this. She comes over to her right. She comes hard. Now, I didn't count the steps. It's about 8 or 10 steps. She can give more, but that is a tremendous effort to get in position and assume that that shortstop's not going to make the play. So that's 2 out of 3 outfielders doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And now in left field, the runner is on first base, and so we want to see if the default setting is to play the ball or is the default setting to cover the base. So let's see where her first steps are here. Towards second base. That's good. That's where the ball was hit. The runner was out at second base, so she didn't see the need to go to third. The runner was being challenged actually at first base. Understandable. We've got 3 out of 3 here, and this, even though we didn't get the double play, even though no one saw the outfield do anything because they weren't really involved in the play, this probably was our best outfield play of the season, even though we didn't touch the ball. And that's the kind of consistency we need from both right field, center field, and left field. If we can get all 3 of those positions working in unison like that, with Ella Che, with Aaliyah Bowers, Margaret Weaver, with Alana Burger Moody, and any other player that's out there, then we've got a great chance to be a factor and influence the outcome of the game. Let's jump to later in the game. Again, our corner outfielders have got to get in the picture. You got to get in the picture. But let's jump ahead to the action here. There's a ball hit to center field. Weaver camps under it, makes the play. It's routine, nice and simple. The good thing here, in addition to making the play, you saw both the right fielder and the left fielder backing up. They both hustled over to back up the center fielder just in case she missed the ball. In addition to that, you see the left fielder come over and high-five the center fielder. Listen, there's nothing wrong with team spirit and camaraderie. The outfielders have got to work together. They've got to stick together. And when you're working hard and nobody sees it, and then you get a chance to make a play in front of everyone, you know what? It's all right to slap hands and shake hands and high-five when a good play is made. Now this next play is the last one I'll show. This probably, I mentioned the other one being the play of the game because of all 3 outfielders working in concert together, which is always the best way to do it. But this next play, we haven't seen this type of base reduction, you could say, this year. This is a close game. It ended up being a 3-2 win for Union City Fury. But in this play, let's zoom in towards left field to see the action. First, let's just let it run and see the play. Okay. What you see here is an all-out sprint for the ball. A brief moment of having the glove up, but then bringing it back down, running, hitting the cutoff, who then turns and throws to the third base, and the runner is safe by about 1.5 feet. Now, let's. The hustle is outstanding, but she turns and throws a rainbow to Etta, who then turns and throws a rainbow to third base. We have got to figure out how to stop the rainbows. If we can stop those rainbows, we can capture about 3 to 5 feet on the base paths that we're not quite getting at this point. But that play was outstanding because she ended up being stranded at third base, and in a 1-run game, that can make the difference between winning and losing. So also you saw the center fielder hustling over. She could have been a relay to second base if a play had been there. Want to make sure we capture our key takeaways from this video session. Make sure you get off that line, squeeze those gaps, and trust your athleticism to back up the bases and get to the corners if you need to. Play the ball first. Assume the circus will break out and the infielders will miss it. Be aggressive with your throws. Come up, throwing overhand, over the top, throwing straight line BBs to control those bases. Hustle. Get tired. Ask the coach to come out if you can't go anymore, but give it all you've got. Control those bases. Communicate. Remember, be your own cheering section and have fun.